So now it's time for. I know he was honest. He said he had no pen and Matt said, I have one I can loan you. So now it is time for our program. And I've been looking forward to the World Community Service Program because of everything that they've done. And if you ever wonder where some of the, well, a lot of the funds go and all the hard work that this committee does, you will be very, very surprised at what all they get done and accomplished. So I'm not sure exactly who's going to be doing introductions, but please, a big Greeley Centennial welcome to the chairman of the World Community Service, Matt Thompson.
Thank you. I'm going to need some help pulling up
You
the
are.
presentation.
Yes. Should have done it.
Well, welcome. I'm glad you're here. We've got some information from a variety of our members that we'll share with you here. We're going to pull up our presentation. I did put out at some of your tables. It's a quarterly publication that comes out of one of our partners in Alamosa called La Puente. And so they are going to be on our program for December 1st. And some of what the work that we've done has been to help provide service in that area and also help benefit them. So
She's working on it.
all right. So these are mine. Honestly, I'd like them back, but if you want to take one with you, it's a nice sample of all the things that La Puente is involved in throughout the San Luis Valley. And it's about an 8,000 square mile area in kind of central southern Colorado. That's one of the most highly impacted areas with poverty in the nation. So it's curious that it's kind of here in our backyard. And I know we have some of our own needs here in this area, but I'm excited for them to come on December 1st so we can learn more about how we can help support them as well and all the things that they're doing to support people in poverty.
Pull that back. I keep pulling up the wrong one. There we go. I don't think I'm sharing yet though. It worked just fine 5 minutes ago.
This is the thing I've read about next year.
Technology.
Okay. I don't think I'm sharing though, right, Carolyn? No. No. No, it was there and then, but I can't get rid of the notes on the side.
Oh,
Should do.
yeah, you should be able to still go right now and do a slideshow mode instead of.
You doing
There
F5?
we go. There we go.
There you go.
Yay. All right. I'm sorry.
Success.
Yes.
Well, hopefully that's the hardest part of presenting today. Wonderful. I'm Matt Thompson. I think this is my 6th year being a member of Rotary. And anytime that I share about the World Community Service Committee, I really want to just express my appreciation to Bill Kale, who's really been a good mentor for me and really helped to pull me in and get me involved when I first got involved with Rotary. So I'm thrilled to see that he's here today. I don't see enough of him, but I like it. So thanks for being here. Yeah. Well, I can just use the mouse to click. Is that right? Excellent. All right. So we're going to share some information about who we are and why we exist and some of the work that we've been doing well before my time, as well as the work that we've been doing since I've been involved as the chair of the World Community Service Committee. Our vision is really around supporting local and regional or district and world projects that make a sustainable difference in communities, fostering friendships, and really looking to have a deeper level of like intercultural understanding. The mission is to partner with other Rotary clubs internationally, nationally, and within our district to further the Rotary International mission of promoting better and lasting friendships through world service. And we also work to incorporate the values of the 4-way test. We send out information to about 16 of our members every month. But the members that I have listed here are the ones that are really actively involved every month when we meet and when we're doing service projects and things. So Stuart Abbott is here. He'll be up to talk to us a little bit. Marlon Frank is on Zoom, so it's good to see Marlon. Bob Geese wasn't able to be here today. Ted Gilliland is here. Bill Kale is here. Phil wasn't able to be here. Mike Nichols wasn't able to be here, and then myself. So we're mostly here today. This is certainly a committee that we would love to continue to grow, whether you're actively organizing and fundraising and planning with us, or just through service. So we'll talk about a couple of opportunities just to get involved, even if you just wanted to be involved once or twice during the year and not have an annual commitment month at a time with us. But we do meet the second Wednesday of the month. So our next meeting is going to be this coming Wednesday from 7 to 8 a.m. COVID, there's some things that came out of that kind of had that silver lining. And I think meeting on Zoom is one of those. And so we have decided not to continue to meet in person and have been meeting on Zoom for about 2.5 years. And that's really worked very well for us and given us some flexibility as a committee to get together, even when Bill, for example, spends half of his year in Arizona and is still able to participate and join us. So anyway, I've got my email address here and my phone number. So if you'd like to get involved, that contact information is also through Club Runner, but you can write it down now while it's on the screen and reach out if you'd like me to include you on our monthly emails that has the Zoom link to attend our committee meetings. And I'll come back to this slide later so that you can see this. All right, I'm going to invite Bill up to kind of give some historical context for the work that's been going on with this committee really for quite some time. So we have historical records, meeting minutes and things that date back to about 2008. And Bill's been on the committee since that time or before. So
I think I've been on the committee a little over 20 years.
20 years.
I'm not even sure exactly when I got on the committee, but I know that shortly after I joined Rotary, a lady by the name of Hope Cassidy asked me to participate on the World Community Service Committee. And shortly thereafter, I became chairman. And anyway, I spent a lot of time on it. Of the projects that are listed here, I really didn't travel to any of those except Guatemala. I know that Hope had made many trips to Africa, and she had also made several trips to Mexico, Juarez, and that's where she got involved with Dr. Mendoza. The one that I was on was the literacy project for Guatemala. That was part of the Starfish program. We made several grants for them, bought furniture for them. When we were there, we met with some of the families that were participating in the Mayan girls training, and we actually visited their homes. We broke into groups and we visited where they lived, how they cooked, how they lived, and it was many times their living facilities were dirt floors, but it was very interesting and very cordial, and we all had a good time. We did end up the Starfish schools. They were establishing some additional facilities. We bought office furniture, kitchen furniture, and appliances. And it was the Bill and Noni Shield who actually did the negotiations, and they decided that maybe they should just give us the stuff because they were getting their price down so low. But anyway, that's just what I know about those projects.
Thank you. So a lot of people might ask how we fund our projects. Most of it's through a matching grant program through Rotary that's funded through our Rotary International Foundation. So every time we have Lou or Stuart talk about how important it is for us to be able to give to the foundation, it benefits many worldwide, but it also comes right back to being able to help us leverage our dollars to be able to do more. As I was updating this presentation this last week, in the last 2 or 3 years, we've been at this $50 per member per capita rate, which has been match of like 1-to-1. We're at the $100 rate this year. I'd love to continue at the $100 rate. I believe it's our goal to all contribute at that $100 rate. But that gives us a 2-to-1 match. So for every dollar that we apply for through the matching grants, we get $2 back. And so we've been able to leverage those dollars so far this year to do so much more than what we've been able to do in the last couple of years. So we also have some dollars that come in through member donations. And often we partner with other Rotary clubs so that, many hands make light work, and we're able to pool our funds to be able to do more as well. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Some of the recent grants that we've been pursuing or have received. Last year, our bigger grant was for a Guatemala Clean Stove project that we partnered with the SQUEM Rotary Club out of Washington. So we'll talk a little bit about that. The one that we've applied for this summer and have just gotten funds for. So that program is just getting ready to launch. There's 4 schools in the Botanical Gardens of Honduras. And so it's the 3rd school that we're able to partner with the Craig Rotary Club to be able to do an addition, some furniture, and bring in flush toilets and restroom facilities. We've recently applied for, and it hasn't yet been approved, but should be approved soon, 2 governor's grants. So these are for more local projects. And so we've done some work with some Afghani refugees in the Colorado Springs area. So we've applied for some of those matching funds to continue some of that work. And then the other grant is for some continued work in the La Puente project. That's really, when I think about how they might relate to us, it's like United Way and the Guadalupe Center and a number of things that we're familiar with here. It's La Puente when it's in the San Luis Valley. So they're a great organization that really has their hands involved in a lot of things throughout the communities of that area. All right, so I've asked Ted to come up and talk about some of the other local projects that we've done here in the last couple of years and ongoing. You need to click for you, huh?
Yeah, one of them, of course, is the Poudre Learning Center Boardwalk, which involved a lot of us. There's a picture of some of us toward the end of the project. It took a long time to do, several years actually, and with various delays of weather and materials and all that kind of good stuff. Anyway, it did 2 things. One is it created a learning boardwalk where you could use it, the large spaces, as a teaching center, and there's stuff growing and whatever right off that when we get those large floods, those areas flood, and then you can sometimes see fish where it used to just be a meadow that you were walking through and seeing, daisies and wildflowers and things like that. So it helps kids realize that there's a whole lot of changes that go on and that nature interacts in a whole lot of ways with the land. But the other thing that was particularly meaningful to me about the Boardwalk project was, besides being a significant learning opportunity for me, since I'd never built anything like that before, the fellowship that we got out of the different work parties. Those were really fun, and it was great getting to know the people that showed up. And I did a tally of how many folks ultimately participated, and directly and indirectly 90 people participated in putting that boardwalk together. And that includes the help we got of folks that were willing to go the extra mile, even though they weren't Rotarians, folks that worked at Home Depot, folks that works at Lowe's, just a lot of folks who showed up and participated. And the other project, and I do want to do a boardwalk pitch, and that is tomorrow night when you come to the party. It would be good to, from the parking lot, take the boardwalk, and then you can notice the sign that we have erected that has the 4-way test, and it's called Rotary Way. And so that was built off to the side of the boardwalk, and you'll get a chance to to walk the boardwalk on your way to the Learning Center building. I'm going out actually after lunch today and touch up sealer spray, getting ready for winter. Some of the wooden circles that we have the four-way test painted on. So anyway, you can enjoy that as part of your stuff tomorrow. And then we also do the homeless cold weather for people and pets by giving out the dog food and the ponchos that are available right outside the door here. If you want some of those for folks that are along the side of the road, either asking for money or whatever, and you notice that it's inclement weather or whatever, and they don't have a raincoat, we've got ponchos that you could offer them, and we've got a little flyer about the Rotary Club. If they have a pet, you can give them a 1 pound bag of dog food. And also in that is the Rotary information and a flyer that shows them every place in our community where they can get meals throughout the week to just help them stay fed. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ted. We have some other district or regional projects that we've been involved with. The La Puente project, like I said earlier, they'll be here in about 2 months to be able to present. They've got a new exciting project that they've recently secured some pretty significant funding for. That networks, they have 15 food pantries as part of their food bank network. But there's a stigma about receiving free food from a food bank or from a food pantry. So it's really an innovative idea to be able to take an old convenience store and be able to rehab it to be a grocery store-like experience for those in poverty, and to really bring dignity back to being able to bridge being homeless or living in poverty and getting your independence and dignity back. So that's just starting. That's what we've written for some grant money for to be able to help with through a service project. There's additional information then. If you just have 10 minutes, or if you want to take it home, feel free to take one of these homes. But I know that there are some out on your tables. It's just neat to hear the words from the people who were involved. There's a number of AmeriCorps volunteers involved, as well as the people who are experiencing on the other end the service that's provided from La Puente. We've also connected with a couple of families in Colorado Springs that are Afghani refugees. When we ended the war on terror in 2021, so about a year ago, there's about 100,000 Afghani refugees that were providing service to our military, and now are in a position where, out of safety, needed to leave the country because they're being targeted by providing service to our military. So there's a lot more to that, but they're often very educated and very able people who are coming through Lutheran Family Services with their Immigrant Refugee Center in Colorado Springs, and just need some help to kind of bridge and get acclimated. And so we purchased a microwave, we've purchased some pots and pans, and so it hasn't been significant, but it's been some extra help to be able to provide for them. And so we'll continue with some of that work. Also in Alamosa, in cooperation with their city and La Puente, we've done some work at a homeless campground that they've named St. Benedict's. And so Stuart and I have made a couple of trips down there, but I wanted to give him an opportunity to talk a little bit about that and what that experience has been like too.
Well, this is one of the luxury places. This is an 8x8 semi-permanent home, but it's not intended to be a permanent home. I don't know how to explain that. They have 5 of these. Most of the campground is just campground sites. Much of it just open to the wind. There's a few areas that are sheltered by some trees and shrubs. So this is 2 of us and an AmeriCorps volunteer and a local guy and staff guy. What we did was, this was last summer,
We put these grab bars on for safety. We put some hanging hooks on to hang things cleverly. There's some shelving inside that we put in each of these units. And then, to my mind, the cool thing is I found some great solar powered outdoor lights to hang under the eave here over the door. Because at dark, in the dark, this may not be such a safe place. And so to have some light for the guests here. Folks are not intended to live in these things for a long time. But it seems that folks are selected to live in these units who are utilizing other La Puente services to get themselves back on their feet and back into more stable community. But that was a day and some of work. 2 years ago, my wife and Matt and I went down and we made you enabled us to make some picnic tables. And I think we made 5 picnic tables for use at the campground. Anyway, this was the nuclear work group, but there were residents of the area who were very happy to give us their opinions. And some of them were actually pretty cogent. And some of the folks, are talking to people you don't see. And some of the folks are just regular people and there, but for the grace of God, could go any of us. And so it has, the relationship with La Puente has been wonderful for Terry and me. And I look forward to continuing.
Don't go too far.
Have electricity, or what do they do to water?
I don't know if I heard the question. And then
The
Sue might want us
question
to repeat it.
was, is there electricity and what are they doing for sewage and water? Was that right, Luke? Okay. There are some porta potties that I believe the city maintains. There is a power pole that the power company has put up. So there's one big floodlight at one corner and a lot of plugs. And so that's where folks can charge up their devices. There are a fair number of extension cords running around. And water, there's no running water at the campground. Yes, Lori?
Said that they're willing to give you their opinion. Have you had anybody step up and offer to help when you're there?
Thinking. Thinking.
Not. Yeah,
It didn't rain that day.
I think it's difficult too, because they're trying to survive. And a lot of them, there's a nice video that I can share. It's about 15 minutes that's been published that really spotlights on the campground. But they still have jobs, they're working at Wendy's and things, and so they're not always there either. I feel like if they were as industrious as you're inferring, they wouldn't be here.
They're certainly grateful.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I'm going to move on. Don't go too far. So we also have a variety of global projects, and while Stuart's here, we've donated some money for a Nigerian clean water project that he'll be able to tell us a little bit more about too.
So I think all of you know that my wife and I have caused to be built a maternity center in a village to serve 5 villages in Nigeria. Some years ago, 3, 4, World Community Service helped us with some funds to buy a device to measure intraocular pressure as a screen for glaucoma to use in our clinic. And that has been glorious. More recently, we've been, the first thing we did was dig a well. Unfortunately, it's contaminated like they all are because the water table is so shallow. And so in order to have clean water at the clinic, we have just finished building the facility to purify water and then package it in film pillows like you get air in from Amazon. Think of these as filled with water. And we actually yesterday we interviewed and hired the scientist to run this thing. This is intended to be clean water for the clinic as well as create an ongoing mechanism of support for the clinic. Anyway, through World Community Service, you helped us to buy some of the purification equipment that was we received in July. It made the trip from Lagos, and we didn't even have to pay any convenience fees on the road. That was a big deal. So thank you for your help some years ago and more recent.
Down in, Spring, Colorado, is that right?
That was our hope and dream. In our last trip in April, we learned from the local NAFDAC guy, I think FDA, that, oh no, that we would never be able to approve this. Even though the statistics and we had the material from Innovative H2O, that it would provide water cleaner than FDA requirement here. We were told it would never be able to be approved. So we
went with
changed
plan B.
directions. But the same amount of money bought all of this other Chinese equipment, but included the packaging equipment and not just the purification. I can go now?
So some of the other projects that I'm sure you're aware of that we've been involved with, this past spring, we donated about $2,500. Some of that was Rural Community Service funds. Some of that were some donations from club members. But we were able to collaborate with a partnership through one of our members, Andy Slaughter, to be able to connect with some boots on the ground just outside of Ukraine for refugees fleeing Ukraine. We know there's greater needs with that, and we're working with Rotary International to be able to write for some more significant grant funds. We're just not there yet. So, last year I talked a little bit about the Guatemala Clean Stove, so we'll look at some pictures of that. We've done some significant work with some schools in Honduras, and so I'll show you some of that. And Honduras 2-3 years ago was hit with back-to-back hurricanes in the month of November that just much like what we're seeing in Florida right now, just absolutely devastated a lot of what's going on up there. So here's a picture of one of the families with their clean stove. This is wonderful because it keeps soot and exhaust like out of the house, so it's able to ventilate out better. So that helps with the health of mother and child. It's also a more efficient way to be able to burn fuel and as a heating source for cooking food. And so for the low cost of $100, we can put in one of these stoves. But part of that is also the education that goes along with it. We are teaching people how to build the stoves so then they can pay it forward and continue to build more stoves. The Sequim Rotary Club has a goal of putting in 300 of these stoves. When we started with our partnership with them, they were able to write for 30 through a district grant. We wrote for 30 through a district grant. To get to the quantity that we need for a global grant, there's not the research base there. We've got to be able to prove that it's making a difference in the health and lives of people, and no one yet has done a study to be able to demonstrate that that's occurred. And so it's just far more feasible to do that through district grant writing than it is through a global grant. But it does impact multiple focus areas. So this is it is our last visit to Honduras. We connected internet to our new vocational center, and so that's the building behind us. Bob Geese is there. I have a Spanish teacher at our school who has helped connect us with the need that's in Honduras. And so she and her dad are pictured there as well with all the students that are attending school at that site. But the vocational center has 30 devices that were donated by Greeley School District 6. So they're out of cycle for us. They were 5-year-old devices that needed to be cycled out. But they were able to help connect to the internet down in Honduras. And then the other half of that is a sewing center. We've done a lot of work making sure that students have uniforms, because if they don't have a uniform, they're not allowed to attend school. The cost of a uniform to us is about $5. And so initially we just did a large purchase of uniforms, but now they're empowered to be able to repair and alter and sew their own. There is a long list. I'm not going to read all this, but we've done very significant work, upwards of about $80,000 to $90,000 worth, mostly through grants. So it's not been just dollars from us, but we've been able to really leverage our dollars to bring electricity and solar, furniture, internet, like just a wide variety of wonderful things to do this. We have written this next grant with the Craig Rotary Club. So they're 2 district grants. The total for the project that we're working on is about $15,000. So our grant is $7,500 of that. And the dollars that we're actually spending is $2,500. So we're able to do a lot of good through the matching grant program. And then we've broken this off into 2 parts. So it's a 1-room schoolhouse that's not accessible without hiking or like 4-wheel drive. They don't have water on site, but it's nearby. So they'll be bringing water in for flush toilets and then doubling the size of the school, which might sound significant. It's a relatively small project where the school is like this side of the room and they'll double that. But they're able to double that portion for $7,500 in windows and doors. They're able to add in all the plumbing and septic and furniture for another $7,500. So our relationship with the people in Honduras has just been fantastic. There's been no overhead costs, no administrative fees. We've got a good trusting relationship with my Spanish teacher's father, who's got a lot of connections down in that area. And it's just been so rewarding to see, Lori, to your question, are the people involved in the work with us who are benefiting from it? Absolutely. And so it's just been a very rewarding investment with our service work there. We are planning a trip here in the next couple of months. I have a meeting tomorrow morning, and as soon as we find out what those dates are, we plan to go down to see the implementation of this and to be able to provide some service and also do some more needs assessment work with a possible water project. So, Lou?
Yeah, District 6 is doing a lot of renovation and remodeling, redoing some of the schools. What are they doing with all the old desks and things of that type? We had a situation with my own club where the district was doing a lot of renovation, remodeling, buying new desks and things of that type. And we got all the old, put them in a big container and shipped them down to, I think it was Guatemala. We have that same type of relationship with the district here, that we might be able to get some of their own furniture and transport it down there?
Yes. Lou, if you're on Zoom, Lou's question was about the work that we're doing in District 6 with just addressing some of the infrastructure and building needs that we have, and what are we doing with equipment that's no longer being used as a district. So a lot of times we'll auction some of that off. We haven't done that in the last cycle, and what I understand is we've partnered with a third-party organization that's done just exactly what you said, Lou. They're bringing in 40-foot shipping containers and loading them up with desks and chairs, and they all went somewhere in Africa. I don't know what the cost is to do that, but I'd be curious to find out, because in some ways it may be cheaper to
About
$5,000, yeah. So in some ways it makes me wonder, is it cheaper to buy the furniture that's already there? I don't know, but it's something that was at no cost to like taxpayers or to our school district. The third-party organization was happy to have our used items and be able to ship them to those who would use them. Does that help answer your question?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we did. We had 50 grand for that $5,000.
The technology's also been helpful for us too. We have to pay to dispose of it. I think it's $35 per computer to dispose of a computer. So not that it's a significant savings for the district, but the 30 devices that they previously donated, which they're doing again, because it's been about 3 years and we're ready to cycle through so that the people in Honduras can have newer devices. That's still saving the district money from having to pay to dispose of that. All right, let's keeping an eye on the clock. We're like right on time. So what other questions or wonders do you have about our work? Or if you just raise your hand, I'll send you a link and you can join our club or join our community. Oh, we have one. We have one.
Come to you? Like, do you solicit them from some place or how do you, I mean, these are also varied. Where are these ideas coming
So I'd say probably half of them come from committee members. And then the other half come from other Rotarians who say, hey, I have an idea. And they'll send an email or something else. And so we'll evaluate it. We have people come and present to kind of pitch their idea. It's not always possible because they may be somewhere else and not be able to be with us in person to present. But it really comes from a variety of sources and it's kind of an organic process.
There's a big conference that was on once a year that we're sponsored in Mexico, where there are tons of these projects that are presented. And various clubs send members to this conference and to see projects that are available. And where the requested funds, the funds can participate. That's sometimes how some of the larger projects end up with 4 or 5 clubs participating on one project. Because all these people went to this conference. I think it's in Guadalajara. That we went to. But it's once a year. So Rotary will provide you plenty of
Opportunity. Yeah. Well, and if you go to matchinggrants.com, which is a Rotary website, they've got two entrances into it. One's for the global grants and one's for the district grants. There's a listing of all active grants. And so you can also see someone might propose a grant and not be fully pledged and might have another need. So there's opportunities for our committee or our club or as individuals to be able to contribute to other people's projects as well. Yeah.
It's also one of the ways it could happen is that if at lunch you're talking with folks here and you guys get an idea that you have a heart for, bring it to us or come to the meeting and whatever, because that's how a lot of ideas happen. I was at a conference once where one of the people got up from the lunch table and said that, he was involved with a project that needed 700 wheelchairs. And by the end of the district conference, he had pledges for 700 wheelchairs. Yeah, I mean, stuff happens at the meeting. Yeah, it does.
What other questions or wonders do you have?
I just really admire everything that your city has done and is doing. That just baffles my brain how much you guys get done. It's just a very, very small thing. So I really admire what you do all.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I feel like we're a pretty well-oiled machine and we're passionate about serving others and helping to improve our community and collaborating and learning more from others around us too. So.
And I would say we have a highly motivated and effective community.
Yeah. Good.
Thank you.